Consciousness isn't constant in the way people believe it is. Just as a computer has a general operating system and functions on core programs and processes, humans share a similar mechanism, what we might call a primal instinct. Of course, I'm not sure if there's any historical record of this, nor would I want to know about that kind of torture. But we can assume that most humans throughout history, if raised in an isolated environment, let's say a room or a small zoo exhibit, where they were given only the basics such as food, water, and emergency medical care, would behave more like animals than humans. If this hypothetical experiment were run hundreds of times, the subjects would likely develop similar behavioral patterns, instincts, and core programs. Who knows, they might even instinctively use rocks as tools or figure out how to do so over time. Unlikely, I'd assume. But this thought experiment isn't entirely hypothetical. We see it reflected in how most animals in zoos around the world behave in strikingly similar ways. Penguins at my city's zoo likely behave like the ones in your zoo. Some animals may learn tricks they are taught, much like how programs are installed on a computer. Similarly, your phone. It's capable of running Minecraft, but it can't just magically play the game. You have to install the necessary data from an external source, or else it's impossible to run. The same principle applies to all living creatures up to a certain level of brain complexity. Everything we consider human can be attributed to accidental discovery, deliberate action, or the intent of passing on knowledge, our programs or data over thousands of years. No one is born with vast knowledge of anything except their own unique quasi-random instincts. This perspective helps us further understand our reality. Why do I feel like the same person who experienced life in second grade? Well, you're supposed to. It's part of your programming. If you woke up feeling like anything other than you, or maybe you felt like someone else, you'd probably need medical attention. You can't not feel like the same person you were in second grade. Because, well, you are, but mainly, you are you because your memories, electrically stored in your brain via its hardware and programming, make you that way. You're forced to use programs from your personal hard drive. That's you. You may have changed drastically and feel like a different person. Maybe you are a new person, but subjectively, you still know you're the same person, or rather, experiencing continuity as the same conscious entity. But that's the premise of this is, you're supposed to feel like it's continuous, means your memories actually work. It means the bio-illusion is working. People with dementia are an example of biology and survival at play. You lack certain nutrients and things your body needs to maintain strong neural pathways and form new ones, leaving you forgetting things one at a time in importance. Family members' names may not be as important to survival as knowing how to eat or what you can eat. How to walk, the list goes on. Now, let's weigh out another hypothetical scenario. Suppose we had two identical humans living completely separate lives, but genetically and physically identical, aside from their neural pathways. Cell for cell, the exact same. Except the brain. You can say they would have the same hardware, but not the same hard drive. If we could perfectly map every neural connection from one person's life experience and imprint it onto a blank brain, would that consciousness or soul be the same one? This is similar to the philosophical debate about teleportation in Star Trek. Are the beings who are teleported really the same individuals or merely perfect copies? Are you your brain, or is your brain a way to access you? Your brain is a computer. It functions differently when new programs, data, or hardware are introduced. If you have a bad left eye, it's like having an old video card or a failing monitor. It won't change how the game's data is stored. but you might have to play on lower graphics. However, your save data, your experiences, remain the same. So, is your life the same game each time you save it? Are you the same you from second grade? Or are you merely a machine that constantly writes and rewrites data? Are you truly a constant being or just a biological computer running on the memories and experiences that shape you? You cannot change your prior programming and experiences. It would take extreme measures to make someone believe an alternative past that disagrees with their personal hard drive. But then again, if you did change it, it still supports this thought process, as it would just be, you are your programming. You'd be changing based on your programming being convinced or altered. This is what it kind of leads me to believe we may not be using our brains to access consciousness, so to say. Our consciousness are reliant on things inside of this flesh brain, rather than relying on the force that supposedly transmits consciousness into the brain. That's what forces you to be you and ensures you always feel like yourself. You can't swap memory cards or hard drives to experience reality differently. Even if you could, it'd prove my entire point flawlessly. Feeling like me isn't something special. It's simply the result of how I'm programmed. If I uploaded all my neural pathways onto a fresh brain, it would still be me. My consciousness is a product of my experiences. I only feel like myself because my brain is wired to process my personal history in a way that creates that sensation. If my mind were uploaded to a different body, that entity would likely feel like me too. It would be supposed to feel like me. Your brain constantly writes and retrieves data, tricking you into believing you are something beyond just a collection of experiences. You think your soul exists independently of your brain, but consciousness itself may just be the illusion of continuity. Nothing more than an ongoing process of drawing from past experiences while simultaneously experiencing the ones that are being written. And I think those happening at the same time has a lot to do with this question of consciousness. This is the core of the philosophical question. If we perfectly replicate someone's mind, would it be the same person? What even is a person, if not their experiences? You are your data. If you were suddenly split in half, you wouldn't be the same person anymore because half of your memories, instincts, and learned behaviors would be missing. You are only what your brain allows you to be, drawing from the information stored within it. This perspective ties into both evolution and religion. I'm not arguing against the existence of the soul or the possibility of an eternal consciousness. God could very well be real. But even in religious texts, humans are often referred to as flesh. Perhaps this is meant to reflect the idea that we are biological machines, flesh computers running on accumulated knowledge, wisdom, and instinct. Ultimately, I don't think this is some hidden secret. You're supposed to feel like the sum of your personal experiences, because that's exactly what you are. Consciousness is the illusion of a very specifically functioning hardware set running off of live feed and stored data inputs and draw points. We don't understand it, but it works. Most people don't know how the device they are watching this video on works. Albeit, I digress. Cheers, I love you all.